Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So the Ravens just finished joint practice with the Green Bay Packers, so there's a lot to talk about. Let's dive into it. We'll start with how cool this ride a kid's bike into practice tradition is. I felt like that was super sick. It's really cool to watch the players kind of go up to a kid and pick their bike, and then they carry their helmet or shoes, and then they ride into the practice facility. I think that that's just such a cool thing. Lamar almost lost it and ate some pavement, so I'm glad that he did not, and it's all good. The Ravens players who did not practice today was Arthur Millette. Obviously, he's going to be out for a while. Mark Andrews still is not practicing. Nelson Aguilar is not practicing. Tyler Linderbaum didn't practice, and then Adisa Isaac, who we know just had another soft tissue injury, but nothing serious from what I understand for Mark, Nelson Aguilar, or Tyler Linderbaum, who should be back soon. So hopefully we see all those guys back as soon as possible, but they were not at practice today. Kyle Hamilton also got a little banged up during the joint practice, but Harbaugh said it's nothing serious. He did come back into practice as well, but was having some hip discomfort, but I don't think there's anything there. So let's dive into today's practice, some ups, some downs. It's hard to tell exactly what was going on because a lot of the information was coming from Packers reporters, and they're obviously going to highlight what the Packers are doing really well and highlight what the Ravens aren't doing so well at. A lot of Packers dominating the Ravens offensive line, Lamar running for his life, kind of dramatic statements in my opinion. Harbaugh did speak on the offensive line's performance in practice today and added an interesting comment that I want to highlight, but I'll play the clip first.
Yeah, Brian, I thought they looked good. They were bringing bull rushes and games and physical games in there, and our guys were stout, passing that stuff off really well. You're not going to be perfect, and Lamar definitely holds the ball. Lamar was not looking to run. He was looking to stay in there and throw. I think he probably would run more in a game than he did today, and that's a problem for the defense too. But from what I could see, I was standing there. I can't wait to see the tape, but I was happy with how firm the pocket was, 90% of the time.
The main takeaway from that was Lamar Jackson was not looking to run at all. So when a reporter's out here saying Lamar's running for his life, Lamar's probably just holding the ball too long, scrambling around, doing some crazy stuff. And then, there's pressure from the Packers at some point. I would imagine this is how that went because Harbaugh said that the line did great 90% of the time. And you're always going to have 10+% of bad reps, even from vets, you're going to get beat on some plays. So if the line had a pretty good day and was, having a solid pocket for 90% of the time, I think that that's a pretty solid day. So you got to sift through the Packers reporting. I see it on my X timeline today, like all these Ravens fans are freaking out. I'm sure there'll be some in the comments where like the offensive line's in shambles. The Packers were just constantly putting pressure, blowing up every play. And by no means am I saying this offensive line had some fantastic day and they're ready to go and I have no concerns. I definitely still have concerns with the offensive line. I'm just saying there's an overreaction here at joint practice. The Packers reporting acted like our line was just getting mauled over and we weren't able to do anything. And after listening to Harbaugh and his confidence, I really don't feel like it went like that. Teams use these joint practices to set up situations and practice certain situational football. So, Lamar is not going to run like Harbaugh said. In a real game, if there's any type of breakdown, Lamar can take off. There's the threat of him taking off, but he's not going to do that in joint practice. I wouldn't overreact. I think that it's not a big deal. There are still concerns heading into the season. Absolutely. I don't think that those concerns are resolved by any means, but they didn't increase today for me. We're only getting one side of reporting. There's not really a lot of Ravens reporters, which I think for joint practices, away joint practices in the future, we need to have a bit more Ravens play-by-play like the Packers were having, because it was drastically different. I mean, we were not getting a ton of information on the Ravens side, and we were getting literally play-by-play breakdowns of everything the Ravens were doing wrong from the Packers reporters. So I think we could switch that up a little bit. Send me to Green Bay or wherever we're at next year for joint practices, man. I'll document it. I'll have a video out. And it wasn't all doom and gloom from the Ravens offensive line today. As soon as practice started, they were running some 1v1s, and Roger Rosengarten stonewalled Rashawn Gary, which I think is meaningful. I really do, because the Packers reporter put after that, that's not usual in Packers training camp. Like, they haven't seen Gary been getting stopped very often. So for the rookie to come in and do that right away, it's just a good sign. It's just another little notch of confidence that Roger Rosengarten is going to be our right tackle, and I think that he's going to be a successful right tackle. I'm still a little concerned about the inconsistency and the bumps that we're going to have early throughout the season as these guys develop, because we're so young, but I do believe in Roger Rosengarten's upside. I think that he is the guy for right tackle. I think that the Ravens made a great draft pick. I'm not concerned about him and his future in a Ravens uniform at all. Lamar Jackson had a solid day, threw multiple passes to Zay Flowers, hooked up with Zay Flowers in a red zone touchdown, also threw a touchdown to Charlie Kohler. Lamar connected on later with another touchdown to Malik Cunningham. Offense overall had a solid day. Lamar had a solid day. Only real critique in general from the offense is that Lamar was under some pressure. I mean, that's the only consistent thing that I was hearing. Defense had a great day. Roquan Smith picked off Jordan Love as soon as practice started. Trenton Simpson almost had an interception. Roquan almost had another interception later in the practice too, but he dropped it. You know, a lot of the players get on him, or were getting on him last year for dropping a lot of picks in practice and stuff like that. So he did drop another one, but regardless, he's there. He's making breaks on the ball. I think our linebacker play is going to be insane this year. We also had multiple pressures from Justin Matabike, from Adafe Owe. Michael Pierce batted a pass down. Nate Wiggins and Brandon Stevens were beat on some balls downfield, and then Kyle Hamilton lost a jump ball touchdown in the end zone to Christian Watson. These are obviously just plays that happen. I'm not reading into it too much. I just want to talk about it and report it to you guys. You know, guys are going to lose battles. You know, it's about getting back up the next play and doing it again. So I'm not concerned about Nate Wiggins or Kyle Hamilton especially. I think, you know, you're going to lose a jump ball here and there. I really don't think it's a big deal at all. But I think that the Ravens overall got some really good work in these joint practices. I mean, it is the first time we're playing against a different team. That also has to be taken into account too. Harbaugh spoke on that in his press conference, just saying that there's an added importance to a joint practice when you're not playing your starters in the preseason, because they really don't get a chance to go against anyone else. So it's super important that we got to go at least against the Packers team here. The Packers ones, our ones versus their ones, because we play Kansas City in 2 weeks and we haven't played anyone. You know, Lamar and Henry and Zay and all these guys and the starting defense, they haven't been out there against anyone besides themselves. So I think that this joint practice was really important. I think that they got some good work in. I'm not really concerned about anything I'm hearing. We could overreact about the line situation if you want, but the Packers have a really good front. We have a really young offensive line. You're going to see reps like that. But overall, I don't think that there's any new concerns or any reason to have any type of changed feelings about this team moving forward. I just think that we got a little better today, to be honest with you. I think that this was great work. We got the preseason game against the Packers on Saturday. Roster cut down day is due Tuesday, so the final roster will be done on Tuesday. I'll have a roster prediction video out either Sunday or Monday. Probably Monday, actually. I think I'll do a post-game highlights video about the last preseason game on Sunday, and then a final roster prediction video on Monday. I think that works. But that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you as always for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.